Have you been feeling a little crazy and wondering what is going on? If you are drawn to my channel, you're most likely going through a spiritual awakening. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 signs that you are experiencing a spiritual awakening. I've experienced some of these things that I mentioned in this video, and everyone's spiritual journey is unique to them. So I'm going to be giving you 10 different signs that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening. If you want to know if you're having a spiritual awakening, keep watching. Before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post my video every Monday. Let's get into it. All right. One of the first signs that you may be going through a spiritual awakening is that you start to notice certain patterns and things about yourself. You might start to ask yourself, like, am I really quick-tempered? Like, do I drink too much? Like, do I go out and party too much? You start to ask yourself and analyze your patterns and the things that you're doing in your life. You're no longer living on autopilot. You're like thinking to yourself, like, why am I here? Who am I? Like, you want to go deeper to figure out who you really are, what you really are, and why you are here. Sign number 2 that you may be going through a spiritual awakening is that you become more conscious of your surroundings. You start to realize that everything is one, as above, so below. Like, we are all connected, we are all one. During this stage, you might change your diet. You might start being more conscious about your health. You might be more conscious about the things that you ingest. Like, you might stop watching TV. You might stop drinking alcohol. You might stop going out to different clubs and parties. You might want to find yourself giving back to the community, doing like food drives and trying to connect with the planet. Sign number 3 that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening is you start to really go in and start to lift certain veils off of you. You start to be detached from attachments, and we have attachments to a lot of things. We may be attached to our cars, we may be attached to our house. It could be anything. It really can be anything that you may have an attachment to. So now we start to reveal certain parts of us and unveil them, kind of like stripping a part of ourselves till we get to our true core. During this time, it can be very depressing. A lot of times, people don't talk about this process of your spiritual awakening, or this part of it where you start to feel a little depressed. It's a little depressing. You start to realize certain things that you didn't really acknowledge about yourself before. You're kind of maybe in denial about it. Like, you may have done things and people may have brought it to your attention. You'd be like, they hating, or something like that. This time, it's very dark because you have to go in the dark to be able to come out into the light. They both exist together. You understand? So this part is a little bit harder for a lot of us because this is the part where you start to really get to your core, realize certain belief systems, certain patterns, certain attachments, certain feelings that you're attached to that don't serve your highest purpose. And in order to be enlightened, you would have to start to strip those things away. The 4th sign that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening is that you start to seek information. Now you're starting to seek other spiritual teachers. You're starting to watch more lectures of consciousness, more people who are educating you. You're trying to get more in tune to yourself. You're looking to start meditating or yoga or something like that. That's a sign that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening. After going through this process, you become closer to finding inner peace. Sign number 5 that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening is a heightened intuition. This could be like you start to think of a song, and as soon as you get in your car, that song is playing, or you think of somebody that you haven't seen in a long time, and then boom, you run into them at like the grocery store or something like that. This is your intuition getting more heightened. You're becoming more connected to your divine being, that inner being that you have, that God or goddessness that you possess inside of you, because God lives in us, right? So This is another sign that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening. Sign number 6 that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening is that you might start to see these synchronicities all over. You might just see 1111, 444 just pop up out of the blue. Like, you're not doing anything. You just look at your phone and it's 1111. Like, that is a sign that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening. Sign number 7 that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening is that you may start to feel more compassionate to others. You might have more empathy and not take things so personally, but understand that everybody is living their own human experience as well as a spiritual experience at the same time, and what they reflect onto you does not have a direct reflection of who you are and what you portray. So you start to be more compassionate with those people because you know that if they're angry or if they start to lash out at you, you might not have done anything. So it may be something that they're dealing with and they're starting to push their emotions and feelings onto you. And it's not something that they're doing consciously, but it does affect you. When you start to have your spiritual awakening, you start to understand that people aren't doing things to you. They are just reacting off of their own things that they're dealing with internally. So you start to become more compassionate to them. And there's so many other ways that you can be compassionate to somebody. You might see someone on the road that may be having a hard time, and you become compassionate to them and you want to help in some type of way, whether that's give them your meal that you just purchased or give them a couple of dollars to go get something to eat. You might see someone in the grocery store ahead of you and just decide to pay for their groceries that day. That is a way that you can show your compassion. And when you start to feel that, that's a sign that you may be going through a spiritual awakening. Sign number 8 that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening, you start to release the fear of death and embrace the fact that that's one thing we know for sure. Like, we are going to go. Whether it's old, whether it's young, whenever that's going to happen, that's one thing you know is for sure and for certain is that you are going to transition one day. So you understand when you experience people around you transitioning, it's just a part of life. We all know that it's going to come to that point eventually. We understand that we are spiritual beings living a human experience, so people never really die. We transition. Our spirit is always living. Whether you believe in reincarnation, whether you believe in going to heaven or whatever heaven is, because heaven is a state of mind. Heaven is a place where you can live right here in this present moment, because we still are spiritual beings. You can go through hell in your mind in your physical life right now. So you start to understand these things. You start to stop looking to the sky for a miracle and realize you can go within and you are in control of that. The power of your mind is a beautiful thing. You can create whatever reality you want. You can have whatever it is you want. And as you start to go on your spiritual journey and you start to have the spiritual awakening, you realize these things. Sign number 9 that you may be experiencing a spiritual awakening is that you start to be more true to yourself. If you don't like something, you feel more comfortable to say no. You want to be more selfish. You want to make sure your cup is overflowing before you can give to anybody else. And a lot of us, we like to give, and we feel so hurt when we don't receive the same treatment that we give to others. And we have to understand that no one is going to treat you how you deserve to be treated until you treat yourself the way that you deserve to be treated. Put yourself first in everything, because this benefits everyone around you. If you are hurt, if you are depressed, if you are going through emotional issues, you are going to start to lash out against people that you love for no apparent reason. And it might not feel good to you, but you might not be in control of those emotions at the time. So one thing you need to do is get control of yourself. Make sure your cup is overflowing, and all that stuff that's flowing out of that cup, you can give to other people, because everybody else is going to do what feels good to them. Sign number 10 that you're experiencing a spiritual awakening is that you start to flourish, honey. you start to know your God-given abilities. You start to be able to manifest and put your intentions into things that you want. You manifest all your dreams and your desires, and you know there is no limit to your greatness. During this time, you are meditating or doing yoga if you choose. You are starting to become connected to your divine guidance system. Everything is just like popping. Thank you so much for watching this video. I can't wait to see you guys in my next live meditation or my next video, whichever one comes first. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends, and to put on your notification bells to receive the information for the next live videos that I'm doing every week. Like, if you haven't attended any of these live meditations, like, you are really missing out. Trust me. Like, comment down below if you've been in any of the live videos. Like, let people know what it's like in the comment section. What are some signs that you felt when you experienced your awakening? Comment down below as well. I look forward to speaking with you guys in the comment section and seeing you guys next week. Until then, remember, change starts in your mind. You change your mind and you change your whole life. Love you guys and see you next week. One of the first signs, gotta stay hydrated. They are starting to